Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Arif bin Muhammad Salawi. I'm from AC205R.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nur Anya Nadira Hussaini and I am from tutorial AC205R.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Aiman bin Muhammad Khairi, class AC2205R. Established on 17 August 1974, Petroleum Nasional Berhad, or known as Petronas, is an oil and gas company established in 1974 and wholly owned by the government of Malaysia. The corporation is vested with the entire oil and gas resources in Malaysia and is entrusted with the responsibility of developing and adding value to these resources. Petronas is ranked among Fortune Global 500's largest corporations in the world, and in 2017, Forbes Global announced Petronas Gas was ranked at 1,881st largest public company in the world. Since its incorporation, Petronas has grown to be an integrated international oil and gas company with business interests in 35 countries. As of the end of March 2005, the group comprises of 103 wholly owned subsidiaries, 19 partly owned outfits, and 57 associated companies. The Financial Times has identified Petronas as one of the 7 new sisters, the most influential and mainly state-owned national oil and gas companies from countries outside the OECD. There are a few activities done by Petronas. The first is upstream exploration and production of oil and gas to downstream oil refining, marketing and distribution of petroleum products, trading, gas processing and liquefaction, gas transmission, pipeline network operations, marketing of liquefied natural gas, petrochemical manufacturing and marketing, shipping, automotive engineering, and investment property.
Hi, my name is Arif. I will be presenting factors to consider having a segment reporting. There are 3 main factors which are nature of the business, existence of manager responsible for the activities, and information presented to the board of directors. First, nature of the business activities. It is identified by any activity carried out by an entity with the main objective of profit maximization. Second, existence of manager responsible for the activities. Each segment is controlled by the segment manager who are responsible for ensuring the performance of the segment and making direct contact with the chief operating decision maker. For Petronas, each decision will be monitored by a divisional managing director to control the department performing are reported into the top management on a regular or quarterly basis. For nature of the business activities, it will be divided into 2 more consideration factors, which are nature of the product or services and nature of the production process. Nature of the product or services is referring to what type of product or services that the company is offering. For Petronas, they offer different products and services which are upstream, gas and new energy, downstream and corporate and others. While nature of the production process is referring to how actually the products and services are provided. For example, upstream is one of the reportable segmental reporting in Petronas, which involve findings and producing crude oil and natural gas. There are 2 types of segments, which are business segment and also geographical segment. For business segment, it is a distinguishable component of an entity that is engaged in providing an individual product or services or a group of related product or services and that is subject to risk and return that are different from those of other business segments. While geographical segment, it is a distinguishable component of an entity that is engaged in providing an individual product or service within a particular economic environment and that is subject to risk and returns that are different from those of other economic environment. Chief of Decision Making and its responsibility. CODM or Chief of Decision Making is responsible to assess the performance of the various segment and decide an allocations of resources to the segment. For Petronas, the COD is The Petronas Executive Leadership Team (ELT) will review the internal management reports at least on a quarterly basis. Segment PAT is used to measure performance because Petronas ELT believes that such information is the most relevant in evaluating the result of the segment. Next, I will be presenting a segmental report and advantages as well as disadvantages of segmental report. To reproduce a segmental report, there must be at least 4 reportable segments and a minimum of 1 non-reportable segment. There are 5 reportable segments which are upstream, gas and new energy, midstream, downstream, and corporate and others that will be classified into reportable and non-reportable segment. To recognize either it's reportable or non-reportable segment, we have to use 10% threshold test. It is reportable when the total of external and internal are more than 10%. For Petronas, we use revenue method for 10% threshold, which consists of internal and external to disclose information about each segment. So, in Petronas, based on 10% threshold for profit or loss, only 4 segments consist of upstream, gas and new energy, midstream, and downstream, while corporate and others is non-reportable segment due to application of 10% threshold test is less than 10%. So for the 75% threshold test, as per result, since the combined external sales for upstream, gas and new energy, downstream and midstream is more than 75%, which is 94.74%. Hence, Petronas no need to identify an additional reportable segment, while for corporate and others will remain as non-reportable segment. Next, this is the new segmental reporting after application of 10% and 75% threshold test has been done. Have a look. Now I'm going to talk about advantages and disadvantages of segmental report. There are 2 advantages of segmental report, which are separating profitable segments and also improve context. For separating profitable segments, they refers to business owner can identify which segments are profitable and which are not profitable to the company. Later on, it could be prompt a change in the strategy company. When it done properly, it keeps managers from hiding unprofitable ventures. Second, improved context refers to segment reporting also allows stakeholders to get a better sense of fluctuations that might affect overall numbers. It's designed to help investors better understand the business and its potential cash flow. For the disadvantage, there are 1 disadvantages, which is the dangers. That refers to the requirement to report segments externally could bring losses to the company. It allows competitors significant insight into how the company operates and its individual profit margins. A company could lose competitive advantage by offering up details on what segment that makes the most money.
I am going to talk about interim report. What is interim report? An interim report is a set of company's financial statement for a period shorter than a financial year. An interim report can be prepared monthly or quarterly or ad hoc when it is required to evaluate a company's financial performance and position at. Now, for basis of preparation, the interim financial report is prepared on the periodic basis under discrete method accordance with FAR 134. The condensed consolidated financial statements are unaudited and have been prepared in accordance with FAR 134 interim financial reporting. They should be read in conjunction with the group's audited consolidated financial statement for the year ended 31st December 2019. Continuing, the explanatory notes attached to these condensed consolidated financial statements provide an explanation of events and transactions that are significant to an understanding of the changes in the financial position and performance of the group since the year ended 31st December of 2019. However, Within the context of this condensed consolidated financial statement, the group comprises the company, its subsidiaries and joint operations, as well as the group's interest in joint ventures and associates as at for the period ended 30 September of 2020. For question 1b, which is the accounting policies used in preparing the interim report, is first is valuation of fixed asset and second is depreciation policies. First accounting policies is valuation of fixed asset. Petronas had used a valuation method to value their fixed asset. They often applied level 1 and level 2 fair value hierarchy as their references. For level 1 is a quoted price unadjusted in active market for identical assets or liabilities. For level 2 is input other than quoted price included within level 1 that are observable for the asset or liability either directly as prices or indirectly derived from price. Petronas recognized transfer between level of a fair value hierarchy as a date of the event or change in circumstances that caused the transfer. For second accounting policy, which is depreciation policies. The depreciation is for property, plant and equipment other than pre-put land and projects in progress is recognized in profit or loss on a straight-line basis over the estimated useful life of each component. These are the examples of useful life for the fixed asset in Petronas. Next is for question 1c, which is types of interim report. Petroleum National Berhad or Petronas choose to apply condensed sets of financial statements in preparing their interim financial report rather than a complete set of financial statements. In the report, Accordance Entries 134 prescribes that set of condensed financial statement consists of minimum content for the current period and comparative to prior period information such as first is statement of financial position, second is statement of comprehensive income, third is statement of cash flows, fourth is statement of changes in equity, fifth is selected explanatory notes as required by Entries 1 through 4.
And now we will be identifying the period for the current and comparative financial statements. The first financial statement is the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. We will be, for the current financial statement, we'll be using the 1st January 2020 and the 30 September 2020, and then comparing it with the preceding year, which is the comparative financial statements starting 1st January 2019 and ends 30 September 2019. Next, we will be comparing the statement of financial position. Again, we will be using we will be comparing the current financial statement with the preceding. We will be using the date will be 1st January 2020 for the ends and 30 September 2020 for the current financial report, and we will be using the comparative 1st January 2019 and ends at 30 September 2019. The next is statement of changes in equity. For the current year, we'll be using 1st January 2020 and ends at 30 September 2020. And for the comparative interim report, we'll be using 1st January 2019 and ends 30 September 2019. And lastly, for the statement of cash flow, for the current year, we'll be using the 1st September 2020 and ends 30 September 2020. And we'll be using comparative of interim report, comparing it. We'll be using the 1st September 2019 and ends at 30 September 2019. And now we will propose two adjustments made by the company. The first adjustment will be dividends paid, and the second adjustment will be receivables and provisions. For the first adjustment, during the interim period under review, the company has paid a final dividend of 240,000 ringgit per ordinary shares, amounting to 24 billion ringgit in respect of financial year ended 31st December 2019 to shareholders in installments between April and August 2020. The company also paid a dividend of 2 billion ringgit, being installments of dividend of 100,000 ringgit per ordinary shares, amounting to 10 billion ringgit in respect of financial year 31st December 2020 to shareholders in September 2020. The remaining amount of 8 billion ringgit will be paid in installments between October and November 2020. We will now look at the adjustment done by Petronas on our first adjustment. As you can see in the statement of changes in equity, the balance at January 1st, 2020 for the retaining earnings is 332,551 million ringgit, and for that period, the company has incurred loss amounting to 21,843 million ringgit, and given that they have paid a dividend of 24,000 billion ringgit for the financial year of 2020 and 10 billion ringgit for the financial year of 2019, the dividend has amounted to 34 billion ringgit for the current year, and now we have a total of 276,708 million ringgit for the first adjustment. For the second adjustment, on 8 April 2020, the Arbitral Tribunal announced its decision on the arbitration proceedings initiated by Gumusuk Kakap Semi-Floating Production System, an indirect partly owned subsidiary of Petronas, against Sabah Shell Petroleum Company Limited. The outcome of the decision has resulted in an unfavorable impact to the group. GKL is advised that it has legal grounds to challenge the award, and on 7 July 2020, GKL filed certain court applications claiming for, among others, that parts of the arbitral award dated 8 April 2020 to be set aside. Hearing of the setting aside application is expected within the first quarter of financial year 2021. Following the above, a write-off of trade receivables and loss on remeasurement of finance lease receivables amounting to 935 million ringgit and provision for litigation claims for 1,049 million ringgit has been recognized in the group's interim financial report. And now we will look at the second adjustment. Given that the company GKL has to write off trade receivables and loss on remeasurement on finance lease receivables, the company has decided to set it off on the statement of cash flow for the quarter end of September 30, 2020, amounting to 935 million ringgit. For the provision of litigation of 1,049 million ringgit, given that the company has recognized the value has been added to the statement of financial position in non-current liabilities for other long-term liabilities and provisions, amounting to 49,183 million ringgit.